Behind every smooth operation, there's a colocation provider making a bigger impact than most businesses ever think about. And when you really look at it, especially in 2026, this isn't just about finding somewhere to put servers anymore. It's about uptime, connectivity, security, and having the flexibility to grow without running into infrastructure limits later on. And because of that, what used to be just an IT decision has now become a bigger business decision for a lot of companies. Hi everyone, I'm Nick Prosser with Data Center Hunter, and today we're exploring the top 3 data center colocation service providers for 2026. But before we get started, I'd like to ask for your help. Can you help me by subscribing to our channel? It's absolutely free, and it helps us grow our audience so that more viewers just like you can find the information they are looking for about data center services and solutions. As you know, this landscape can be very confusing at times, so my goal is to help simplify this technology and the selection process. Now, before we go further, it's worth quickly explaining what we mean by colocation. It's simply placing your infrastructure in a professional data center rather than running it all on your own. So rather than building your own facility and handling power, cooling, and redundancy on your own, you're relying on a provider that already has all of that in place. So with that in mind, let's walk through the top 3 data center colocation providers for 2026, and more importantly, why they stand out. All right, let's start with number 1, Equinix. Now, Equinix is probably one of the most recognized names in the colocation space, and there's a clear reason for that. A big part of their strength comes down to interconnection. And what that really means in practical terms is this. When your infrastructure sits inside an Equinix facility, you're not just renting space and power. You're also connecting to a much larger ecosystem of networks, cloud providers, and business partners. And that's important because it directly impacts performance. It helps reduce delays, improves how quickly systems talk to each other, and makes it easier to scale across different regions. Another thing worth mentioning here is that Equinix is particularly strong for businesses running hybrid environments or anything mission critical where connectivity really can't be compromised. So if you're looking for global reach, low latency, and easy access to cloud and network providers, Equinix is still one of the top options in 2026. Hey, before we move on, I'm assuming the reason you're watching this video is because you're searching for data center and colocation services. I want to remind you about our free consulting service to help you figure out which solutions on the market are best for you. We represent all the major data center service providers in the USA, and we're paid by referrals only, so our consulting service is absolutely free. If you'd like my help, all you have to do is visit our website at www.datacenterhunter.com, where you can request help from my team and I on our Contact Us page. Filling out the form is simple and just takes a couple of minutes. So, if you're looking for data center services for your business, we can help. A link to our website is also in the description below this video. Now, moving on to number 2, we have Digital Realty, and this is where things shift slightly because their strength really comes down to scale and consistency. Digital Realty operates a large global portfolio of data centers, which means if you're a business looking to standardize infrastructure across multiple locations, they're very well positioned for that. But beyond just scale, there's another point here that's important: flexibility. Digital Realty supports a wide range of deployments, so whether you're starting relatively small or you're planning something more power-intensive long-term, they can support that progression without forcing you to rethink your provider later. And that continuity matters more than people sometimes realize. On top of that, they're known for delivering consistent performance across different markets. Digital Realty is a very strong option. Now let's look at number 3, which is NTT Global Data Centers. And this is where the conversation shifts a bit more towards flexibility and customization. Because the reality is not every business fits into a standard colocation setup. Some need private cages, some need dedicated suites. And in some cases, businesses need something that's completely tailored to their requirements. And that's exactly where NTT stands out. They offer a range of solutions that allow you to shape the environment around your infrastructure rather than trying to fit your infrastructure into a fixed model. At the same time, they bring strong global coverage and solid infrastructure standards, which make them a good fit for organizations with international operations or more complex requirements. So if your priority is customization, flexibility, and scaling in a more tailored way, NTT is definitely worth putting on your shortlist. Each of these providers is solving a slightly different version of the same problem. Equinix is really focused on interconnection and ecosystem access. Digital Realty is focused on scale and consistency. And NTT is focused on flexibility and customization. And that's actually a useful way to think about colocation in general, because choosing a provider isn't just about comparing prices or picking a location. There are a few things you naturally have to work through. For example, where your users and systems are located. And then probably the most important piece, where your business is going next, because the decision you make today needs to hold up in the future as well. So when you look at colocation in 2026, it really isn't just an infrastructure decision anymore. It's a strategic one. The provider you choose is going to influence your uptime, your performance, and how easily you can scale over time. So as you compare your options, it's always worth starting with what you need today, but just as importantly, thinking about what you're going to need next, because ultimately the right colocation provider is the one that can support both. Before we wrap up, drop a comment below and let us know what's the biggest factor for you when choosing a colocation provider. Again, if you haven't done so already, please be sure to hit that subscribe button to help us get this information to as many viewers like you as possible. Also, if you found the video helpful or insightful, hit that like button right now and feel free to let us know your opinion about today's topic in the comments below. This is Nick Prosser with Data Center Hunter, and I'll see you again in the next video.